I'm going to finally work on these 360s that I've had for a while. They all have the same problem in that the disk drives won't open. They all seem to be Jasper boards as well, which is great because that's the most efficient model they released for these 360 FATs. So I'm going to start disassembling, and you can just rip this front plate off once you get the hard drive out. And you got to work on these clips, get the top and bottom parts off. And this was super brittle and it was so easy to break. So I was trying to be really careful getting all these clips. And I did the best I could, but there's this few parts that just broke off to really no fault of my own. You can see in a second, some pieces just stayed in that cage, like right here. Continuing to be careful, I run through with more of the disassembly. I'm working on the screws. There's a piece of tape that holds the disk drive in. I just cut that. Front plate has a sneaky screw. You have to take that plastic piece off to get it off all the way. The disk drive is pretty dusty, which is a little unusual, and I just keep taking it apart and I can see more dust, and more caked on dust. This is the dustiest system I've opened in a very long time. That is so gross. That's going to take a while to clean, so we'll see how that looks here later on. And again, that is just caked on. These kind of gave me a bit of a problem. I actually had to use pliers for the smaller clamp right here. It was insanely difficult. We can see all the dried up thermal paste. We'll be sure to replace all of this. Shout out to Microsoft for getting thermal paste on the board. Good job. With the amount of dust, I'm not surprised inside the DVD drive was really dusty. I don't see it really that often ever. There's not much reason for dust to be in there, but it's just so dusty. It's just insane. We can see how loose that belt is. I'll be sure to replace that. Final piece, I'm taking the disc tray bezel off. Here's the full disassembly. Be sure to follow to see how it turns out. Thanks for watching. This is part 2 of me working on these 360s and controllers, although I haven't gotten to the controllers yet. So pretty much in part 1, we got everything disassembled, and it's time to give everything a nice scrubbing. I like to use a big tub with just hot water and Dawn soap, and I upgraded myself to some proper brushes because I had a toothbrush before. And it's nice to have some bigger brushes to do some bigger cleaning. And I tried to do some Retrobite. Took a couple days because it was raining. RIP. The hard drive, I didn't see a big reason to take it apart, so I just gave it a quick wipe down. The belt, obviously, we are going to replace because it was very loose, and we can just see how gross this DVD drive is. I'm going to make sure to give it some extra detail and love because we want it to work flawlessly once we put it back together into the 360. So there's the new belt. It's all clean and ready to be used again. Thermal paste, scraping that all off. And while it can sometimes look like there's some stuff left, it's just kind of a stain. It's almost impossible to get it looking near perfect. So I just keep rubbing my hand until it feels really smooth, and those felt really good. This fan, it was bad, right? It was bad. Took me about 18-20 minutes to clean the entire thing. I'll show you a quick left and right side comparison here. And yeah, big difference, right? Looks good. And there's the whole thing. I like to spin them for fun every time I clean fans, so there you go. Next up is the thermal paste on the motherboard. We got multiple chips to take this off. It took a hot minute. It was a little difficult to get this off. It was really on there. And now we have the motherboard, the dusty motherboard, using one of my wife's old, I don't know, makeup brushes, right? Is that what they call them? Old makeup brush. Works pretty well. And there's a 50-50 split. You can see the clear difference. I think it's pretty crazy. Went ahead and finished up the other side. This is all I could get done this afternoon, so be sure to follow to see the final result. This is part 3 of me working on these old Xbox 360s. Really, it's just been the one so far. As you can see, it's been really filthy and gross and has been taking a lot of work. I'm going to talk about how it's taken me a couple days to finally upload this video because once I got this all together, it would not power on. No matter what I did, it started off when I plugged it in, it powered on itself, and it would not turn off with the power button. When I unplugged it and plugged it back in, it would no longer power on at all. So I disassembled it, and I had to go through it all again, and right there I'm fixing the heatsink because I put it on wrong. So if you caught that, good catch. Make sure it goes on this way or that fan cover will not fit on, by the way. I know I'm getting sidetracked here. I'm just going to show all the pieces that kind of fell off during disassembly. Again, this was super brittle. I mentioned that in the previous video. I don't know what kind of storage this was in, but this just fell apart so easily. You could so easily just snap any of these in half with your fingers, which is why I wanted to do the Retrobite to try and strengthen the plastic at least a little bit, so hopefully it wouldn't be as brittle. A lot of this I feel like was in vain. Some of the clips were broken. I know when this is taken apart next time in its lifetime, if that ever happens, it's not going to survive. It's just going to need a new case, but I figured I'd try and make it last while I could. This is the underside of the RF module connector on the motherboard, and when I was doing continuity testing, it would power on, so I knew this was the issue. So I'm cleaning up some of the old solder, got some new solder on here, and kind of just fixing those cold joints, and you can see the difference looks infinitely better. And I tested it, and we can see we got a light. It powers on. Those red lights are just because the heat sinks aren't clamped on. It thinks it's overheating, so it shuts off. So I test it, and what do you know? It doesn't read discs. I did get it to read once, so we'll look at that next time. Welcome to part 4. The first 3 parts we worked on a console. I have 2 other ones to work on. And I'm going to work on these controllers. You can see the joysticks are in bad shape. They're all pretty dirty, need cleaned up. Let's go ahead and get to it. All these controllers have a sneaky 7th screw behind the barcode on the back, so be sure to get that. And I'm just going to preview a short disassembly here. I won't show the disassembly for each controller. It's pretty simple once you get into it. You get the front plate off, everything kind of just pops out. And this bottom piece here, the gray piece, go ahead and get that out, and then we can take the motherboard out and the vibrator pieces that make the controller vibrate. The small little piece of hair where the joystick goes, we want absolutely nothing to be in there, so make sure those are perfectly clean. These do have small little screws to get the D-pad off, and I put everything in hot water and Dawn soap here that I can and give it a little scrub, and everything comes out fairly well. For extra detail, I just use a cotton swab and 99% IPA, placing the new joysticks on. I'm going to go ahead and snap it all together, and it looks like a brand new Xbox 360 controller. The second black controller wasn't really that bad at all. I'm going to keep the OEM joysticks, gave it a quick wipe down with a damp wet cloth, and it looks great. This is the first white controller. It didn't look too dirty to begin with, but after taking it apart, I can see it'll be worth giving it a quick scrub. So I will go ahead and do that. Put it all back together, new joysticks. Again, looks brand new. Let's go to the last controller. It was the worst. It's all scuffed up, pretty filthy. Somebody again took a bite out of that joystick, and this battery pack cover, I was able to get that black spot off. I was kind of surprised. I was able to just disassemble this with the magic of editing, so that was nice. And with just scrubbing, surprisingly, that black stuff came off. So I thought it was like damaged with scuffs, and not sure, but it came off. I was happy about it. A little more detail in here to get all of that clean so we don't have any buttons sticking, and another beautiful controller. 4 controllers, fully restored, all looking brand new. I'm really, really happy with it. Be sure to follow to see how the rest of the consoles turn out. Thanks for watching. So we left off with this Xbox 360 needing a new laser. There's been a lot of work done on it, but there's 2 other Xboxes here I need to get into. So before I order a new laser, we'll look at that. I believe I have another Falcon board and a possibly Jasper board based on those dates. Just showing some of the damage on this one. I'm going to open what I believe is the Falcon first. We'll see how it goes. And then the front shell. Of course, there's no springs, and the first memory card slot flap thing is missing. So it is what it is sometimes. I'll go ahead and take this apart. I won't show the full disassembly if you want to see that. To go part 1. It looks like this might have been taken apart before. We'll see what happens when I get on the inside here. Again, just getting it apart. And doesn't look too bad. It's way cleaner than the other one. Still pretty dusty. And of course, the DVD drive belt is complete garbage, which is the main issue that this one has. So I'll get this cleaned up, get all this nasty dust, hair, whatever this is out of here, and replace this stretched out belt. You can see the size difference. That smaller one's going to do wonders on getting this DVD drive to come in and out. So I got it back together. We'll give it a test to make sure it does work. And it's attempting to read. And we're good. Look at that. So this one will work. I just need to get it cleaned up and put it back together. So I can go ahead and add my plastic safe grease so it helps the tray slide in and out easier. And again, a little bit closer preview of some of the dust in here, and we'll get it fully disassembled just like that. Fan's pretty dirty as usual. A lot of cleaning to do. Let's go ahead and look at the chip. We'll confirm if it's a Falcon board. And it is. That X8124800007 tells me it's a later Falcon. I'm going to get this cleaned up. We'll get it back together. We'll check out the other Xbox and get all these situated. I'm getting tired of these Xboxes. So thanks for watching. Part 6. We're finally getting somewhere. I'll finally get this Xbox together. A little bit of spoiler here. I get it together. It does work. So getting all the pieces back together after getting it all cleaned. I got the heat sinks back on with fresh thermal paste. Arctic MX6 is the best for these consoles. And I'm trying a new method here with the fan using a makeup brush. I actually did like it better, so shout out to whoever recommended that. If you're new to the channel, I'm new to a lot of this, been doing it for a few months. I welcome suggestions. You can learn from my mistakes. And this is just fun for me. I enjoy doing it. It's a new hobby. A lot of people know way more than me. I'm welcome everybody. If you're new, if you're a senior, come on by. Let's see what we can do together. I showed all the scuff marks. There were so many scuff marks on this, and I'm just using some cotton swabs and IPA and a lot of scrubbing. Usually you don't want to scrub too hard, but in this case, all these black marks look a lot better removed than some slightly different finishing on these on this Xbox 360 shell. So I think it looks so much better now that those are gone. I'm going to go ahead and get it fully disassembled. Fan goes in first. The motherboard, don't want to forget those cables for the DVD drive. The fan case thing, DVD drive goes in. RF module is on. Don't forget that little plastic piece. Top part goes on and gets screwed in. Bottom part gets on and clamped in, and I forgot the eject button, so I unclamped it, put that back in. Front plate on, and I forgot to hit record with the top and bottom plastic pieces, but they are on DVD drive, or not DVD drive, hard drives in, and we can give this a full test. DVD drive comes in and out now. That was the main problem, and it works. Thanks for watching. Plenty of people keep insisting that adjusting the laser strength is good enough and it lasts for a long time, so I'm going to give it a go. Normally I just replace it. The adjustment we want to make is on the left knob right there. We just need a screwdriver to do this. I'm going to check what the default resistance is. We got 4.4 ohms, so I'm just going to turn it slightly to the right because that's what everything says to do. And, well, turns out I was wrong. Need to go to the left, so we'll turn it to the left, give it another go. And I'm aiming for 3.4, and I promise I got that on my first try, which is pretty cool. So, gonna give it a go. We'll see if it reads, and it didn't read on the first try. So my next target is 3.2. Took me a couple tries because these are just hair-thin churns, super small. It was to the point where I couldn't even tell I was churning it. It wasn't good enough. My last try was 3.032 was the final resistance number, the ohms measurement. So this is just some B-roll footage of me giving it a test. I turned it off and on. It was reading the disc and plenty of at a good speed. And everything turned out well. So hopefully this laser does last a long time. All I have left to do is just to put it together with a snap of my fingers, and we got Halo 3 running. Once again, this is 2 of the 3 Xbox 360s fully working. I haven't even tried the third one, so be sure to follow to see how that turns out. If you made it to the end, thank you. You're probably wondering why I'm showing you these 3 consoles. I mentioned before in a previous video, one of these 3 consoles will be given away, and I want you to choose which one I will be working on next. So please comment below if you made it to the end. Choose the Sega Genesis Model 1, the Nintendo 64, or the PlayStation 3. And if you happen to choose the right one, I will let you know at the end of that console's refurbishment. And if you guys didn't select the right one, we'll go ahead and choose one of the other 2. And if you're right, I will let you know. So let's see what happens. Thanks for watching. We're finally on the third and final Xbox. Look at me getting organized, by the way. I'm really proud of all this. So last Xbox 360, I'm kind of sick and tired of it, but I promised I'd do it, so here I am. Brief overview. It's dirty, of course. And of course the doors, hinges, things, springs are missing like always. And this is like melted in. I don't know what the deal is with this. So, and also this clip seems to be broken. Shouldn't be a huge deal. Should be able to get it to stick on there somehow. And yeah, there's no saving this memory card door, so I'm just gonna break it out of there. I'd rather it be usable than a useless door that became a wall because they glued it in. Ridiculous. This disk drive, there's a bunch of like this brittle, papery plastic stuff inside. No idea. Look, I can make it snow. I've never seen anything like this. I don't know what this is. It's just ridiculous. And same with the front. I can turn it over. And here's a clip of me figuring out this in real time. I usually don't show my real-time audio, but here it is. What goober put like paper plastic in the disk drive and like put a blow dryer up it and just, I don't even know. I don't even know how this happens. Yeah, really, I don't know what that was, but here it is all cleaned up. Giving it a quick test actually comes out, which is great. And we'll go ahead and give it a test with, of course, Halo 3. I use Halo 3 because it's the only 360 game I have right now. And it works, which is fantastic. So we just need to get it all cleaned up. This video is getting a little long already for TikTok, so I'm going to just speed through the rest. We can see it's pretty filthy, pretty dusty. I'm going to go ahead and clean the chip off so we can confirm the version. And we have -004, which means this is a Falcon board and the power rating is 14.2, so that's how we know that as well. My next giveaway I will be working on sometime soon, so comment one of these 3 consoles, which one you think will be given away. It's already been decided. Whichever you guys choose, I will work on next, and I'll reveal if it's the giveaway. Finally, the last part 9. All 3 360 consoles, fully refurbished and working. Last thing to do here is pretty much to get this all cleaned up. We got it working in the previous video. The disk drive was stuck, and that's all that ended up being wrong. So pretty easy fix. There was a surprise in the DVD drive, so go back and watch if you're curious. Never seen anything like it. So getting everything rinsed off here wasn't too bad. Thermal paste obviously dried up. Super satisfying to scrape this off always. And all this will make a nice snack later. Just kidding, don't eat that. Nice and smooth to the touch. We'll do the other thermal sink, good gracious, heat sink. Again, super satisfying to scrape that off. Second good snack later. Seriously, don't eat it. Nice and smooth. Fan, this was not even the dustiest one. The first one was the dustiest one, so if you're curious, go back and watch that. It was pretty insanely dusty, the first console I took apart. Giving this a nice brush off, and I noticed something not great on this chip over here. Looks like the legs are getting oxidized, maybe. A little bit of rust, not sure. A couple rounds of a toothbrush IPA cleaned them up. Thankfully, that's a very important chip. I had to read up on it. It does a lot of synchronization with the console. Gets everything working together, so super important to keep that nice and clean and working. We'll get the rest of this in now that I gave it a clean and just give it a quick test to make sure it does turn on. It does. And with the snap of my fingers, put it together. And we have our third working Xbox 360. 3 for 3. Super happy with it. Thanks for watching. One of these 3 consoles is the next giveaway. Again, it's already been decided between me and the person that gave me these consoles, so I can't change it. So comment which one you want to be given away, and I'll work on that console next, and if you're right, you guys will know.